So we've brought you all here today. Welcome to Faith Community Church. And Patrick is down in Jamaica, as you all know. And this week's E100 reading is from 1 Timothy chapter 3. I invite you to read that along sometime in your week. And the theme is elders and deacons. And that is Paul writing to the leadership of the various churches, specifically in this one, Timothy. And it challenged us as elders to come up and have a rare opportunity to approach you with our stories, how we came to eldership, what it means to be a leader. We're given a few questions as to how to lead, how to be a leader. So you'll hear the testimonies of a few of us as elders, and if you have any further questions, we can open up some time at the end. This is really loose, so just sit back and relax, or read through Timothy and see where we get our inspiration. So a few of the questions that you'll hear answered today are: what are the most important lessons you feel you've learned over the course of your time as an elder? Church leadership can sometimes be difficult or stressful, but you can learn important lessons from it. What have we learned as leaders? As we look back over our life at Faith as a leader, do we see any turning points or key events that have changed over the course of our life? What does faith community mean to us? What advice or suggestions or encouragement do we have for those coming new to faith community? What are some of the important choices or decisions that we or the church have had to make that we have learned from? What can we say we know now about faith community that we didn't know when we were on the leadership board, when we were not on the leadership board? And what information or wisdom can we share to you as faith community that we probably would not know since we were not on the leadership board? What do we love about serving on the board? What do we find difficult about serving on the board? And what does it mean to be on the leadership board? So starting with myself, I came on to the elder board as a recommendation from Mark Aberly, Jennifer and I. Jennifer is away, but I'm sure she would have the same feelings I would. It was a great honor to only be here at Faith probably less than a year, maybe a year, of coming regularly, and I was approached as being recommended to step up to the leader board, to the eldership board. Mark Aberly, for those of you who knew him, he was always thinking for this church, and he thought that having fresh blood, having a fresh person on the leadership board, having a young person with fire and energy and passion would be the kickstart that would lead to all the changes for the better. And so he suggested Jennifer and I, under 30-year-olds at the time, to make important decisions for this body of believers. That was an honor that I still can't get away from. That's something that I take very near and dear to my heart, and to be one of the leaders making decisions for this church is such an undertaking for both myself, and my girlfriend has found out as well that even though she's not on the board herself to make decisions, she has to put up with the decisions. It's a very time-consuming task, and there's not a lot of personal time on Sundays, Sunday mornings, but that's a sacrifice that reaps benefits that can't even be put into words. You find out that you want to come here. You want to ensure that this church grows, whether it's, come on in, you're fine. Faith community to me is nothing but love. You can have all the converts that you would ever desire. You can have everybody know the Bible word for word from end to end, different versions. You can boast that your congregation is over 35,000, that you have regular donations over 200,000 a week. That all does not matter. What matters is love. And if we go out as a community of believers and just love the community, love our neighbor, do things for them that a regular status quo human being would not do for another human being in today's culture. If you go out and you just love your neighbor, if you just practice what Jesus preached, what he truly preached, then you're set. We're living the life of Christ. And faith community has always been that. They've always taught that. That's our doctrine. Our doctrine is love. And I had never seen that in a church before. I had never seen church be what it is here at Faith. And so I'm proud to know that everyone out here has that same feeling, and we go out as the same community of believers with the same purpose. And that, again, it's hard to put into words what that means to go home to say, I'm a member of Faith Community Church. Well, who else? I don't know, just about 75, 80 more of us. And you get this look from other people when you tell them what you're doing here and what we do as a community, what we feel is important. And they look at you like you're crazy. But maybe it's the crazy ones that have it right. I love being a part of this board, and though it is a time-consuming, sometimes heartbreaking position, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Michelle?
Okay. I cannot tell you how long I've been on this board. Time flies when you're having fun. It's been at least 10 years, Joe? And when I was asked to become an elder, it was a very scary prospect for me because, as Jeff alluded to, I came from a different background. My background was Catholic, and I felt like there was so much I didn't know. I can't, even to this day, I'm going to make a confession, I can't quote scripture, okay? I don't know that stuff. And for the longest time, I just sat in the meetings and just kind of was in the background and didn't open my mouth very much, which is usually my fallback. When I'm uncomfortable, I just sit in the back and don't talk very much and just kind of absorb what's going on. But
it ain't like that now, though.
And it's not like that now. No. It wasn't that I was uncomfortable with being in a leadership role. Dave will tell you, I'm a little bossy, and I translate that into, I'm a natural born leader. But it's different being an elder, because when you are an elder, like it or not, people are looking up to you and they're looking at your life. And that, I'll tell you right now, my deodorant is wearing out. That is a scary prospect, to have people look at your life and either admire you, respect you, or let's hope not, say, she's falling a little short, isn't she? It's kind of a terrifying prospect. But I kind of approached this after a while. I approached being an elder keeping in mind something that I was told back in another lifetime, Kathy, when I used to sell real estate. And at the beginning, they tell you it doesn't matter how much you know, people only care about how much you care. So I knew that I loved God and I believed in Jesus Christ. And I thought, well, as long as I care and as long as I love that, then I'll let people just know that I care, and they won't care how much I know or how much I don't know. And that's where I've gone with being an elder. When I get up here, I just try to share with you, and I try to remember how God touches my life. I look for how he's touching my life and how he's sending people into my life, and all of the blessings that he gives me and all of the challenges that he gives me. And I just try to go with that. It's central in my core, and I try to then show that in my life to other people. And successful or not, that's kind of how I approach being an elder, and then keeping that close to my heart in our meetings when we're having to make hard decisions, when we're having our discussions. That's kind of how I approach being an elder. And what I love about this board is you can look at us, and the two people that are missing as elders, we are so different. And that's what makes us such a rich board. That's what makes us work as a board. We all have different skill sets. We all have different gifts. And that's an amazing thing that makes this group a very strong group. It is our differences that make us cohesive. And it's an amazing experience being part of this group. And terrifying as it is sometimes, it's such a blessing and such an honor for me to be an elder for all of you.
That was my thought too. We're such different. Everybody has strengths in different ways, and I think that adds such a balance to it. When I came on as an elder, it was Patrick and Jeff had asked me if I wanted to do that, and I felt honored. Right away. I'm like, oh, that's a great thing. And then I thought, this is a tough position for me, because it's like I have this big family here that are an example of faith and serving and loving each other. Now I'm going to be set apart and put it as an example here or something. That was a tough decision. But then I thought, well, there's nothing I'd rather do. When Diana and I came here, we knew that this was our home, and this is you guys adopted us really fast, and we felt family. And so whether we were on a board or not, or an elder, we were serving this church, and it was nice to be put in that position to do that. I'm honored to serve with these guys. They all, like they said, we have to make tough decisions, and some of it is not, it's what we want, but some of it isn't. We have to make what's best for everybody. And when, as an elder, some of the things that are the toughest turn out to be the best. I mean, we get calls, that like in the afternoon or middle of the night, whatever, that somebody is sick or somebody's in the hospital or whatever. And that's tough, because that's family. That's, the people we love and care about are hurting or something. And I know for me, like going to the hospital and praying for people, I love that, because there's no place I'd rather be. If a family member is sick, I want to be there and do what I can. And I know for me, there's nothing I can do, but I have faith in somebody who does. And nothing makes me feel better than to pray for that person. And out of that hurt and everything, what's funny is most of the time when I walk out of there, I'm the one who's truly blessed. I mean, I've got to know several people very well that way. Whether good or bad, we've spent a lot of time in hospitals together, and my life is enriched by that time. And I've learned how strong people's faith is in that. I've seen some very strong marriages that it's like, I want to have a marriage like that. Not that there's anything wrong with ours, but it's nice having an example of that too. And but it's also it's something you believe in too. As an elder, we're called to come along and serve in different ministries, and we see people that have very strong ministries of, and we accompany those to have an elder in that. And I've cooked burgers and things. I've helped roast hogs. I've done a lot of things, but in that, I've come to know some people very well in that of working alongside them and seeing what belief they have in other people, enough to give of themselves, their money, their time, their efforts, everything into serving others. And I admire that. I mean, they're the true leaders. And it's nice that as an elder, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I thought, as an elder, it's like God has put me in a place where I get front row seat to see what He's doing in people's lives and in our community. And so, for me, being an elder, I'm honored in that. And the tough part of it, the blessing far outweighs all of that. So, this is a great guy here, very smart man.
Well, as you can tell, this is not sermon time. This is more like Saturday night at the Improv, and so none of us really prepared any, quote, sermons. We were just given several questions to perhaps look at and think about, and so I did spend time on those questions. And being an elder to me is just it's just truly an honor that I carry, and I so appreciative of that the church has entrusted me with that responsibility. I think about the upbringing I've had as a young person, a little bit different than many here, in that many here today are new in the faith, and it's a glory to me to see that and to work alongside those that are learning what Christ has to do in their lives. And for me, I was fortunate to be raised in a family that church was important. I was probably, I think, weeks old, and my mom took me to church and handed me over to the nursery, and literally as a baby, literally weeks old. And back then, we had nurses that ran the nursery, registered nurses that took the children in. And a couple weeks before that, literally when I was days old, my mother had me at the hospital, of course, and my aunt walked into the to the hospital room and asked my mother, "Well, Evelyn, when is the baptism? When is Joe's baptism?" And my dad was Catholic, and so was the rest of the family. My mother was not, and she belonged to a non-denominational church similar to our church here, except it was quite large. And my mother said, well, Joe's baptism is not scheduled. He won't be having what was a sprinkling at that time, a Catholic baptism. Joe will make his decision when he's of mind to make that decision. And so it was years later, when I had the knowledge and experience to make that decision for my own. I believe that it is important that we do make the decision, and not to say that there's anything wrong with other forms of baptism, but I like the point that we do have the chance to make a decision, a public confession of faith, where we step out and say, I believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God. And so I was raised in that as far as my background goes. And the other thing that's interesting that Rick's alluded to is we all come from different experiences, and Jeff spoke of being barely 30 when he was on the board here. And my experience is I've been fortunate and blessed enough that I've been on a board as an elder for over 30 years straight without a break. And I keep looking for ways to take a break, and I can't quite find it. But I enjoy it so much, and the Lord, I think, gives me some wisdom to help in a leadership position, and so I'm very thankful of that. Some of the lessons here that I thought about, that I've learned about, is I have learned to be patient and to listen to what God would have me do as I share in this responsibility of eldership here at the church and the leadership position that we have here, all of us have at Faith Community Church. It's difficult to do, because listening is hard to do in this culture. Why? Because I think in the culture that we live in, it's a problem solving, it's a quick decision culture. We're expected to make decisions quickly and on demand. And the scriptures teach us something different than that. The scriptures teach us about being patient and talking to God and going to God. And so I continually work on that. I try not to make quick decisions. I try to go to God in prayer and not just have a one-way conversation with God, and that's tempting to do. God, help me with this, help me with this, help me with this. Well, listen back. I try to listen back to what God has me in store for me to do, and I wait patiently, and I try to seek His revelation in my life and how I might further lead this church here and all the challenges that we face. We do face challenges in this church, and I often say amongst the board that, and amongst membership, that the church just doesn't run itself. And so when you come in the doors in the morning, you kind of expect to see the pastor standing there and smiling and bright faced, and we do, and the lights are on and the water's running and the toilets are flushing and everything's going good. But that just doesn't happen. And so it's my privilege to share, not in those mundane things, but that's part of the running the church. And this board steps up and oversees that. So I'm thankful for that. It can be difficult, as Jeff's mentioned. It can be a little bit stressful at times. The decisions we come into play that we have to make. But I've been privileged again to serve through some of those difficult decisions and to be around folks that can really make a difference. And that board that you have in front of you today, plus the two that aren't here. And also, I say the board, these are the elders, but the board is really the leadership board, and that's also our deacons. So we do have deacons that I hope you're getting to know and getting to know their responsibilities. Some examples that I've learned, I've jotted down here. I've mentioned patience. I've also learned about forgiveness. And that means to me to never carry a grudge and to be at peace. Be at peace in your own mind with the things that are going on around you in your life and in the life of the church. And we also have always talked about the golden rule and what that means. I think that's really important that we follow God's teaching, that is that we should love others as we love ourselves and go out and spread the gospel. I think about the golden rule. I kind of paraphrase it in a term or a few sentences that I heard the great coach Lou Holtz speak. And I don't know whether Coach Holtz spoke this as a original or he got it from someplace else, but he talked about, he said, you can tell a lot about a person's character by how they may treat someone who can do, and listen to this, who can do nothing for them or can do nothing to them. You see? And so that's a paraphrase, I think, on treat others as you would like to be treated. That's what the gospel speaks about. And so I try to do that in my life. It means to me, the Faith Community Church, that Patrick's given us some prompt questions to here, just trying to live out, do the best that we can in the trying to follow the ageless charges that are given to Christians everywhere, to love one another as we love ourselves. And we reach out to those outside of Faith Community Church to extend that love of Christ to others, to help build in a relationship with Him. Thing that was hard to understand over all the years that I've tried to study the scriptures, and I'm starting to understand it in teaching Bible school study to youth and also adults over the years, is the Bible tells us that we should do everything to be Christ-like. And so that's been difficult. You see, Christ is our example. And you, as a new Christian or someone that's new to the faith, walking into the church maybe for the first couple of times, well, how can I be Christ-like? That just sounds so above what I can possibly do. All the temptations that we have, all the trials, all the experiences that we have in our life, well, take solace and take comfort knowing that none of that was greater than we can bear. God has told us through scriptures that none of the things that go on in our lives. It might be health, might be relationships, might be financial. You see, God does not give us something that we can't handle. And so we should look to this understanding of what it means to emulate Christ, to be like Christ. And again, I say from time to time, me, be like Christ, you got to be kidding me. I'm full of sin. I make mistakes. But I know that the Lord gives me power and strength to work through those things and how I conduct myself, my relationship with others, and in the stewardship in the world that we live in. And so that's been a learning for me. I think it's a lifelong learning. Those that I spoke to in the church when I've had the opportunity to teach or to speak to you one-on-one, a very important point to me is this faith continuum. You see, we're all on this, I use this word continuum. We're not all on the same place in our faith walk, our faith journey. And so as a board, we work through that. We have varying degrees of experience on the board, much vast experiences across this congregation. And you see, where you stand on that line is separate and distinct from somebody else's. And so we try the best as a leadership team, as a board, to nurture those various positions on your, I call it a faith continuum. A comment about advice or suggestions or encouragement that we would have to those that are coming to Faith Community. It's a blessing to me to see so many new faces. I try to introduce myself and learn a little bit about you. And what kind of advice would I give to you? That I would say, do everything you can to get involved. This is a small church, smaller today because of spring break, but this is a small church that has so many great opportunities for you to get involved in. And I would encourage you to challenge yourself if you are new, or if you're not new, to step out of your comfort zone and join those folks that are around you in the mission of this church as we move along and have what Christ will have us to do. And as you do so, if you step out of that comfort zone, I just say that God's going to shine through you. Don't be afraid of it. Don't consider yourself that you're not knowledgeable enough, that you can't do it. Know that Scripture will provide you a way to move through the kingdom here on earth. These are some things that I would offer to you as encouragement, again, whether you're brand new to the church or you've been here for a little while. You see, we're small in numbers, but as Jeff has alluded to, I would not trade in any way the passion or the commitment or the deep faith that I see that it's exhibited here in this church as we reach out and we seek opportunities to serve others and show Christ through the efforts that are not really our efforts. They're efforts that are shown through us that I believe that are God-given. And so it's my privilege again to, and an honor for me that I take deeply, that I share with my fellow board members and the deacons to be a part of this church. And I can't thank you enough for the confidence, the encouragement that you show all of us and in the conduct of our duties here at Faith. Thank you, and God bless you.
If I can just add a couple more comments to that. As you can see, and it's very obvious, we are all very, very different, each of us here on the leadership board and the elders. We've all talked about it, our differences. There are some things that are not different. There are some things that unite us, and that is our compassion and our passion. We are all passionate about our love for God in Jesus Christ. We are all passionate about each one of you, and we are passionate about all of God's children. And we just want to encourage all of you to try to reach down deep and find your passion. If you have a passion, we want to encourage you to find what that passion is. And if you're kind of struggling with that, or if you've got an idea of something, I kind of feel like God's calling me to something, but I just don't know, come talk to us. We want to be approachable. We want you all to feel that you can come to us and just, hey, can we have a cup of coffee and talk about something? Absolutely. Every one of us will have the time to share a cup of coffee, to sit down, talk, call us on the phone. It doesn't matter what's going on. We would love to talk with you. And if there's an idea that you have for a ministry or just something that's going on in your lives, that's something that we want to share with you. And that's something that we want to help you, to encourage you, lift you up to be able to do what you want to do and what you feel God is calling you to do. So please, if you come away with nothing else today, please just remember that we're here for you, and we want to help you.
I also wanted to point out that, Jennifer Bishop and Megan Miller are part of the elders. They are on vacation, lucky them. They're not slackers or anything like that. They're just, on vacation. That's the excuse they gave us, anyways. But they are very great at what they do. Jennifer's the board chair. She puts a lot of it together for us. It makes it a little easier for us. So both of them are great leaders and great passion and for everyone here. I want to thank everybody, and thanks for listening to us. It is an honor to serve you, and I know I speak for them as well. Let's close in prayer. Father, I pray that you would continue to lead us as elders and at Faith Community, that you would give us wisdom and you would speak your will for this church. And I pray that we would walk that out. I pray that we would have that relationship with you, God, that would be a blessing to all those around us. And I pray that for Faith Community Church, God, that we would walk in the steps that you have chosen for us and what you have for Faith Community Church. I pray your blessings here. And just, I thank you, God, for this family that comes together, that I call family, that I hurt when they hurt, and I laugh with them. And Lord, that it is such a blessing that you've put us all here together. And we just thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. We thank you for coming. Pray that this week would be a blessing, that our God would look favorably upon your week, and that you would hear his voice and be guided by him. And we just pray that his power would be on us, and that we would feel his love with us always.
The Lord be with you.
You know.
Go in peace.